Hey guys, great to have you here. Welcome to the webinar. And can you guys hear me okay? I'm gonna send out a quick note, so just let me know. Can you hear me okay? So shoot back, yes, I can hear you. No, I can't. Perfect, great. Okay, let's get started. Just wanted to make sure we didn't have any troubleshooting issues with technology. All right. Feel free to ask questions as we go through with the chat function. So that's why it's there. Great for questions. All right, you guys are here for a reason. You're here to learn about how to make your abs look and function better. All right, so 3 things that your doctor probably did not tell you, and this is what we're going to cover today. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to talk fast, and I am going to not give you any fluff because your time is valuable. So let's get this show on the road. 3 things that you can do immediately to improve your abs that do not involve crunches, diet, or more cardio. So, doesn't that sound great? All right, so no more guessing. Let's get some results out of you. I'm guessing you're here because you want to go from this to this, right? And society makes it seem like it's so easy. You know, you see these movie stars and they're like 6 weeks postpartum and my belly looks like this. So you go into pregnancy thinking, all right, this is going to be a breeze. I'm going to get it back. So you're either here for 1 or 2 reasons. 1, you want to go from that picture to that picture, or 2, it's your profession to help people get from the pregnant picture to the great looking postpartum picture. So I'm hoping to shed a little bit of light on that, but that is a complete and absolute myth that you can do the same old thing or basically do nothing and have your body bounce back. There are very specific things that pregnancy changes, and therefore there are very specific things that you have to do postpartum to get your body functioning back correctly. Now, I can't do anything about stretching skin, so that one's on you and the plastic surgeon, all right? I have a few stretch marks myself, and you know what? There are some things that we just need to love about our bodies, and that is going to be one of them. All right, so just a little bit of quick background so you know who I am and what I'm talking about. I started personal training back in 1999, so I've been doing that for 17 years, which pretty much makes me an expert exercise, love exercise. Graduated physical therapy school in 2005, which basically helps give you a deeper understanding of how the body works, how it fires, diagnostically, anatomy, things like that. Then I went back for my doctorate in 2008 because I love learning. Did my doctorate research on the pelvis, specifically the SI joint. So the pelvis and the core are just parts of the body that I find extremely fascinating. So it's just something that I've been studying for a long time. But it's more than just school. So this has been a complete obsession of mine. So what I'm hoping to do today is take a little bit of my obsession and impart it onto you so you can actually get some quality information instead of the top 5 tips to better abs from some magazine off the shelf that was written by a writer who knows virtually nothing about exercise. All right, so my goal is to bring you the best of the best from cutting edge research so you can learn today. Right, what causes mommy tummy? Okay, basically, let's say you weigh the same as you did postpartum. You work out basically the same. So you're like, what gives? Why do I still have these abs that I'm not happy with? Right, one major factor is diastasis. We're going to cover diastasis in the next slide so you know what it is. But diastasis is basically a separating of the abdominal wall. And don't worry, it's not going to split up or anything like that. It's more of a thinning of the fascia. All right, but this is controlled by several factors that are actually preventable and treatable, which is really exciting. Poor posture. So pregnancy is hard. Pregnancy makes you're carrying tons of weight in the front. I mean, your boobs, the baby, seriously, it's a lot of weight in the front of your body. Okay, so having great posture while you're pregnant is ridiculously hard. So we fall into these posture traps that we then take into a postpartum period. And so that's what when I look at a patient, even if she's 20 years postpartum, I'm looking at this woman and I'm saying, oh, you had a kid. You had at least 1. You probably had 2 or 3. And she's like, yeah, how did you know? I'm like, well, you look like you're still carrying a child, even though there's no belly there. So recognizing these few posture mistakes so you can fix them easily does tremendous amounts for your core recovering. And then poor muscle activation. All right, don't leave the call right now, okay? But drawing in your belly button is not the best way to fix your stomach. All right, it's just not. We're going to get into more of that later, but I promise you it is not, and the long-term effects of that are not helpful. All right, decreased diaphragm activation, lack of hip strength. There's a lot that goes into correct muscle firing and coordination within your body to make sure your core fires like it's supposed to and your abs fire like it's supposed to. And drawing in your belly button is not the solution. All right. Do you have a diastasis? And is this the hidden cause of your belly? All right, so we're going to do a quick check. But basically, a diastasis can cause your abs to bulge and not hold together as tightly as you want them to. So if you're like, why do I still have this bulge in my abdominals? It could be because of a diastasis. Now, a diastasis is more, that separation is more than a cosmetic issue. So I really want you to see it as something that you need to fix because it can cause a load transfer issue, and not to get too technical, but it can cause improper loading on your low back. So when you have a diastasis, when your stomach does not quite look like you want it to, and those abs are kind of pulling apart a little bit, that can cause a lot of back pain down the road. All right, so this is actually a medical issue that we want to fix because I want you to be able to crawl down on the floor and play with your kids. You know, I want you to be able to run and jump and have fun and not have to worry about back pain and things like that that are caused by something that is treatable. All right, so what is diastasis? All right, so basically you can have diastasis different places, different regions in your abdominal wall, which is why you're going to check more than one. But here in this bar picture, you've got great looking abs, okay, so everybody's nice and tight. And then you can have an opening in the bottom, an opening in the top, or you can have a separation all the way down. All right, so how do we check for those? Okay, so in this picture, I am 6 months pregnant. All right, this is a video. And you can check out this video on my website, and I'm going to send you a follow-up email to this class, and it will have links in it for things like this. All right, but to check your diastasis, you're going to lie on your back, and you're going to lift your head. And then basically, you're going to stick a finger in your abdomen right in the middle, along the middle alignment. 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers. I've seen people, I mean, you just keep going with those fingers. All right. So you can give that a shot. Check that now. See if you have a diastasis. All right. So you're just going to pick up your head. You're not doing a full crunch. You're not going, you know, all the way up. You're basically just making the rectus, the muscle in the middle, fire. And when that muscle fires, you can feel either side of it. So what you're feeling for is either side of the muscle that runs up and down the front, and you're going to feel how far apart those muscle bellies are. And you're going to use your fingers for that. Now, I want you to check about 1 inch below your rib cage. Okay, so right where you would think about your sternum and your chest. So 1 inch below your rib cage. And then right above your belly button, right under your belly button. So check right around your belly button. And then about 1 inch or 2 below your belly button. So we get all of those different diastasis points so you can see what's going on there. Okay, now, what if you're like, I do have a diastasis. Oh my gosh, I have a 4-finger diastasis. Or a 2-finger, and I didn't have any before pregnancy, and I want to look better. All right, my recommendation, first and foremost, is to avoid the things that are causing the diastasis to get worse. All right, so be sure and avoid forward flexion activities until this heals. So what do I mean by forward flexion? Basically, that's anything where you're putting front pressure on your body. So front planks, crunches, sit-ups, hundreds, V-sits, roll-ups, push-ups, burpees. So anything where you are loading the front of your body and doing something that requires forward pressure. You're going to be able to do all those things you want to do and more once you get this fixed. But until you get it fixed, you're making your issue worse. All right, so just a few simple things to avoid. There's plenty of other things to do, I promise. So just a few simple things to avoid is really going to help you with healing in the long run. Then let's take that into real life. So try not to sit straight up off the floor. straight up out of the bed in the morning, try to roll on your side, and this will help decrease stress in that diastasis. All right, finally, top 3 things, okay? Top 3 things. So we're gonna first start with looking at your overall posture. So a couple things we're gonna cover here is, do you let your weight, your body weight, hang forward into your belly? All right, so we're gonna take a look at what this looks like. Does your head sit forward on your shoulders? Okay, even just 1 inch forward is bad for your abdominal wall. Okay, even 1 inch forward. And then does your bottom tuck under when you stand? Okay, do you tend to clench your glutes? So let's take a look at all of that. And I hope that you prepared for this webinar by snapping a quick selfie from the side. So if you didn't do that, go ahead and just run to the bathroom really quick and grab a selfie so that you can look at that while we go through it, so you can see what you look like. Now, don't try to stand up super straight. Stand in your normal everyday standing posture so you can see how you load your body and then what those mistakes look like. So why does poor pregnancy posture make it harder for us to bounce back? So let's take a look at some pregnant women really quick, and then we're going to take a look at you and your selfie picture and then compare those two so you can see, wow, maybe I still do have some poor pregnancy posture. Okay. Number 1, your shoulders should not sit behind your bottom. Okay, so if I were to draw a line, this is the woman in the black dress. If I were to draw a line down through her body, her shoulders sit behind her hips. Okay, so the woman in the striped shirt, very much so. Her shoulders sit way behind her hips. All right, when you push forward into your hips, okay, so if you were to stand up right now, so go ahead and stand up for me for a second, and then let your body weight shift forward into the balls of your feet. Okay, you don't have to go drastic, not all the way in your toes, but just put more weight in the balls of your feet than your heels. Do you feel that pressure pushing forward into your abdominal wall? All right. So when this happens, when you feel that pressure pushing forward into your abdominal wall, that is causing that diastasis to separate more, and it's preventing it from healing. Okay, so you can see that with this pregnant belly, it's so heavy. So speaking from someone who's been there, it is so heavy. And so your tendency is just to kind of hang forward into that posture, which then really stresses the front of your abdominal wall and is a contributing factor to diastasis. All right. Now, what if you're like, okay, well, this woman over here, she is not hanging forward in her belly. Her shoulders are in line with her bottom. So what about that? Well, this woman is doing the opposite posture, but it is equally as bad. She is tucking her bottom under. All right, so as she tucks her hips under, she forces a separation pressure on her abdominal wall. And a lot of women that you see with their hips tucked under, it causes like this little pooch belly. And so that it's not what we want to see. Plus, it's really, really bad for your low back. Okay, so she is tucking her bottom under, which you can even see in her shirt because it's tight. You can even see some of the separating going on there with her abdominal wall already. Okay, so how do we fix these? All right, let's take a quick look. These are postpartum people that were patients of mine, seeing me for various things. But this woman, she hangs forward into her abdominal wall. So she has a tendency to shift her weight forward more into the balls of her feet. So you're gonna monitor yourself now all the time. All right, now I want you to catch yourself. Do you shift forward or do you balance your weight between the balls of your feet and your heels? So this is a very, very simple fix. So what I want you to do is stand up and I want you to play with those weight shifts. Do you shift forward? Do you shift back? Can you balance the weight between the balls of your feet and your heels equally and not be forward on your balls? So when you shift forward, you stress pressure out on your abdominal wall. You also stick out your belly. And then these people tend to say, oh, I need to pull in my belly button because I'm standing forward into my pelvis. But then when they pull in their belly button, they completely shut down their diaphragm. This is bad for a number of reasons, but your diaphragm is the middle stability for your entire body. Okay, your diaphragm is that giant muscle that helps you breathe, but it also tells your pelvic floor to work. So if you shut your diaphragm down, long term, that can cause pelvic floor issues, among lots of other things. TMJ issues, a tight neck. So if this on you is tight or this in here, you probably don't use your diaphragm properly. Okay, so when you draw in your belly button, you shut down your diaphragm. Okay, I have more on this on my site. Feel free to take the belly button challenge and see how that works for you. Okay, and then this woman. So all I want you to do for this, if you tend to be one of those people, if you're looking at your selfie on your phone, and you're like, all right, Sarah, I definitely tend to shift forward. I tend to shift my body weight forward, or you tend to turn your feet out and kind of hang forward into your hips. All I want you to do is straighten your feet and then shift your weight back. Okay, so shift it back so it's balanced between the balls of your feet and your heels. Now, if you are the type of woman who tends to clench your bottom and tuck it under, this woman is 20 years postpartum, okay? And she has been clenching for a long time. So long, she has completely lost her bottom, all right? It is completely gone. So at first when you start clenching, it doesn't go anywhere, but when you hold a muscle in a tight and shortened position, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker over time. Now, what do I mean by clenching your glutes? All right, I want everybody to stand up for me. Now, in standing, I want you to squeeze your bottom, then I want you to let it go. Okay, so clenching your glutes is something that happens subconsciously, kind of like clenching your jaw. Do you ever catch yourself with your jaw, like your teeth together and your jaw tight? All right, so that's clenching other muscles, or your shoulders up by your ears. So you're clenching the muscles in your shoulders. So clenching is whenever you hold a muscle tight. And this is what we don't want to do. All right, we do not want to clench your glutes. Okay, so quick check for that. I typically see most clenching happen when you're standing at the sink washing dishes, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're washing your hands, when you have like just a pinch of a little forward lean and your glutes are like, oh, I don't want to activate correctly, so I'm going to clench. All right, so you feel for that. Feel for your bottom to tighten. And one of the best ways is to squeeze your bottom, squeeze your glutes. These are your butt muscles. Squeeze your glutes and then let them go. So if you'll do that repeatedly through the day, it can be that little check to say, hey, am I clenching my glutes or are they nice and relaxed? Because a relaxed muscle can fully lengthen and fully contract, which means you're going to have a great looking bottom, all right, instead of glutes that are clenched. Okay, so if you tend to catch yourself tucking under like that, check that clenching. So just stop clenching. Okay, so both of these are mindful posture activities. Number 2, rib cage alignment. Pregnancy, unfortunately, spreads our rib cage, and we have to work to get it back down. Now, you've got a baby pushing up on your ribs, pushing out on your ribs. You saw those pregnancy pictures, and you've probably been pregnant yourself. All right, so you know there's no room in there. He's got to go somewhere. And most of us, because we're carrying all that weight in the front, our lower backs are very tight. So there's nowhere to expand to the back. So the baby just fully expands to the front. And our ribs, from our natural rib sitting position, tend to spread. They spread forward, they open forward, and they open sideways. So when was the last time you went to an ab class and the teacher said, okay, today we're going to work on our ribs? Because this is truly what you need to get great muscle abdominal function and not doing zillions of abs, all right? So you can yank on your abs all you want. You can do 1,000 crunches a day, but it's not going to do the trick if those ribs are still flared. So let's take a look at this. I'm not much of an artist, so I did this in where I could draw straight lines. All right, so normal rib cage. So if this is your top, okay, so this is your chest up here, and this is the bottom of your rib cage. Now, you're going to find the bottom of your rib cage. I'm going to stand up really quick so you guys can see. You're going to find the bottom of your rib cage by pushing right along here, okay? So you should be able to feel that bottom rib, and then you can feel that angle, and you can trace it, stick your hands in, and see what angle your rib cage sits in, okay? Does your rib cage sit in a nice 90-degree angle, okay? This nice 90-degree angle holds your abs together. Or does your rib cage sit in an open, flared angle, which would have the tendency to pull your abs apart, make them bulge, make them stick out, give you the belly that you don't want, and decrease proper abdominal function, okay? So most postpartum women I see do not have a 90-degree rib cage, okay? There's a lot of factors that go into optimal postpartum recovery for having that great 90-degree rib cage. And one of those is lots of squatting. And frankly, as a society, we just don't squat. We sit in chairs. So there is nothing that encourages our rib cage to go back to normal. So this is just, I think it's a big product of our modern lifestyle now and our modern conveniences, where you actually have to do very specific things to get your rib cage back down, unless you just want to squat all the time. And that usually does the trick. I want to show you guys a couple of patients that this is one, she had multiple kids, I think 5. She has pretty decent posture, all right? It's not looking that bad. I mean, her back, if we look back here, her mid-back does not go past her bottom, all right? So she's got decent alignment there. So if we were going to draw a plumb line down from her ears, her shoulder, her hip to her ankles, she maybe sits a pinch in front of her ankles, but not much. So she's a tiny bit of a forward weight shift, but overall, I'm very happy with this. So basically, she contacted me because she's like, Sarah, I am skinny. She doesn't need to lose any more body fat. This woman does not have body fat to lose, okay? But she's like, I can't seem to get rid of my belly. So we checked her rib cage, and it's extremely flared open. So that picture I showed you, hers was even worse. All right, so she has this giant flared open rib cage that sits really open, and that is pulling apart her belly, and that's causing her to have a big giant belly bulge. All right, so what are we going to do about this? All right, why does a flared rib cage even matter for great abs? Well, because your obliques attach to your ribs, right? So we're working abs, but we're not actually working abs if those ribs are still out, because that's telling me your external obliques specifically shut down and you haven't gotten them back yet. All right, so the ab work you've been doing, if your ribs are that flared, is not the right ab work. All right, so we need a balanced core that can handle load correctly, because I don't want to see you as a patient for back pain, okay? SI joint pain, pelvic floor dysfunction, all these kinds of things, neck pain, because you can't transfer load through the middle of your body and you have that disconnect there. So a closed rib cage helps connect your body, helps get your diaphragm ready to fire, helps you have a narrow waist, supports your diastasis, plus it makes your belly look smaller, right? So just a quick exercise tip to keep in mind. Your obliques, that I was talking about, that insert on your ribs and help that corseting effect of your abs, those obliques love transverse plane loading. So what I mean by that is I mean loading that comes from the side, all right? So unless you're gonna do crazy activities with your kid on a playground, you can do some crazy, there's some fun like monkey bar stuff where you can get some transverse plane loading. You need some specific exercises, all right? So this is not any of those forward flexion things. So this is not crunches, this is not sit-ups. And you're thinking, all right, well, I do those crunches where then I go to the side. I don't really see anybody do those right. So unless you're focusing on rib movement first and your head following, most people feel that a lot in their neck, and they don't really feel it a lot in the side of their abs where they should. Okay, so I have tons of exercise examples for you, so just stay tuned for the end. All right, so this is another patient of mine. We had a lot of fun. She was great woman. 2 years postpartum. She had a 2.5 finger diastasis, okay, which meant 2 fingers plus another half, all right, right above her belly button. So we're working on closing that. And it took 10 minutes of breathing. Okay, 10 minutes of breathing to do this to her. All right, so here I copied and I pasted this line. So just for the fun of it, she was young and nice, and she let me do a before and after shot of her. So basically, I took this shot, just said sit normal, and then we did the 10 minutes of breathing work to get her ribs moving. And then I said, okay, sit normal again. And as you can see, she still has the same forward head posture. All right, so she is not by any means trying to sit up straight or suck anything in. I'm like, just relax, because I wanted to show her what getting her ribs in and down did. And as you can see, it's like she lost an inch on her waist. And all we did was get her ribs in. Now, it took her about a week of doing the exercises to get it to hold. And then when she came back in, she's so excited. Well, like, what was it, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, she'd been doing her exercises. We checked her diastasis. It had dropped a whole finger width. This is 2 years postpartum, 4 years after her first child, 2 years after her second child. she'd been doing exercise programs, 0 results, and we got her ribs moving. We got her breathing correctly. We got her diaphragm turned on, and her diastasis is closed. So just like that. It's the coolest thing, and it is so fun to do. I love it. Because you're not giving people more work. You're giving people something that's really efficient. All right. So let's try an inhale and an exhale. All right. So I'm going to have you can stay seated or you can stand up, but I'm going to bring my ribs right into the front of this picture so that you can see them. Okay. So watch my rib cage. So I'm going to inhale and then I'm going to exhale. Okay. So can you guys see on that exhale, my ribs came down and in. Now, put your hands on your own rib cage, and I want you to feel for that. When you inhale, does your rib cage go out? And then when you exhale, does your rib cage come back in, specifically down and in the front? All right, so that's the next check I want you to do for me. Okay, moving on. Number 3. So we're going to take this rib cage that we're working on. We're going to take this breathing, and we're going to take it one step further. Does your diaphragm function correctly? Because your diaphragm is such a big player. It sits underneath that rib cage, and it's such a big player in getting the little muscles underneath your ribs working, getting everybody down and in, and controlling this intra-abdominal pressure. Okay? So, 2 points to this. Point number 1, belly versus chest. And then point number 2 is 360 expansion. I'm going to go over this. Or back body expansion. Okay, so we're going to do both. All right, second breathing check. I want you to put a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly. Now, I want you to give me a really big inhale. What moved? Now, if I inhale into my chest, I feel my chest move. If I inhale into my belly, I feel my belly move. All right, so go ahead and give me a nice big inhale. Which hand do you feel move? Do you feel the hand on your chest move, or did you feel the hand on your belly move? Or did you feel both? Okay, which one, if you felt both, which one did you feel move first? Because your belly should move first. So what I want you to work on, your next takeaway homework, is I want you to work on only letting your belly move, okay? 0 chest for now. Okay, 0 chest. So let's try to get it in your belly. Now, this is not the final step. So I know if you take a yoga class, if you're doing some deep breathing, meditative work, you're like, okay, I got this belly breathing thing down. I've been working on it for a while. Well, that's not the end of the story. And the reason why is because if you only breathe through your belly, you're getting a stretching of just your belly instead of all the way around your rib cage. So what we want is we want a 360. So if this is you cut in half, I don't want you to just expand in the front of your belly. I want you to expand your rib cage and bring it back together. Okay, because the diaphragm sits all the way around. The diaphragm just isn't in the front. So when we look at correct breathing, we look at 360 expansion, not just belly. Okay, so we can't stop there. But you need to start there, because if you're a chest breather, especially if you've been drawing in your belly button for years, it's really hard to take a deep breath with that belly button in. All right, so if you're a chest breather, we're going to need to get it in your belly. So that's step 1. Once you master that, that's not all about the belly. Once you master that, we're going to take you into a 360 breathing pattern. So you get expansion all the way around. Now, why do we want this expansion all the way around? Because you need extensibility. So think about muscles as being pliable. Okay, think about when you have that diastasis or you have that splitting in the front, or what I generally feel when I have women with diastasis breathe is the side of their abs don't stretch and move at all. So if you hold your hand around your waist and you inhale, do you get just as much movement along the sides of your hands as you do the front? Okay, with that deep breath, because you should. Okay, when you're holding around the front, the sides, and the back of your abdominal wall, you should feel equal expansion, front, back, and sides with that inhale. So put your hands on the bottom of your rib cage and inhale for me. Okay, you should feel your thumbs move. You should feel the middle of your fingers move. You should not just feel the front move. So what this tells me is if you can expand on the sides and if you can expand on the back, then your back muscles, all right, your paraspinals, quadratus laborum, there will be no quiz, I promise. So your back muscles are tight, all right? Does your back ever feel tight and achy, especially if you've been standing in one place for a while? All right, well, this is probably a clue that you're not back body breathing with your diaphragm, because with every inhale, if you inhale into your back, it provides a little traction or a little relief off your disc, and it gives you a little bit of muscle release, which is awesome. So it feels like you get a back massage, which is fabulous, all right, just from breathing. So your back will no longer be tight, which is great. And then that tells me if you get side expansion, that you have oblique and transverse abdominals. So these are the great ab muscles that we need to pull that belly in and make it look good, not that one in the front, all right? The one in the front does not make your belly look flat. If anything, it makes your belly look bigger, okay? But if these muscles can't expand, they can't contract well, all right? So when we get them to breathe, they're accessory muscles for breathing. Who would have thought the abs function is not to just look good, it is to help you breathe. So these guys are accessory muscles to breathing. So we want them working. So you should feel that expansion through your whole abdominal wall. And I'm gonna give you a few tricks to get there, don't you worry. All right, but you can feel this whole expansion through your abdominal wall on the sides, which tells me you have extensibility, which means if you want to get pregnant again, or you want to heal your diastasis, or you're going to do something else to stretching the front of your belly, you're most likely going to prevent a diastasis and help it heal quickly if you have this great extensibility. Because if everybody is stretching, there's no need to separate at the front. Okay, so pretty simple concept, but not many people nowadays have that great breathing and that extensibility to their abdominal wall. I'm going to start a pregnancy prevention program, I think. All right, so this allows you to stretch because a muscle needs to lengthen. Imagine if your bicep just had to stay here. And then you had this pregnant belly growing in that tight bicep and there was no extensibility. Of course somebody would start tearing, okay? So we want a dynamically strong core. All right, so how do we gain this 360 expansion? It is not by stretching, it is by activation. All right, so this is an activation issue and this is an eccentric load issue. So the ability, eccentric just means the ability of a muscle to lengthen. So what that tells me is that your abdominal wall does not open and lengthen well when you breathe. All right, so I have a series of amazing exercises and I'm gonna give you guys free access to at the end. Yay, free. And with some rib mobility things, so the stuff that I did with that woman that I showed you where she lost an inch on her waist, and diaphragm activation, all right? Because it will take too much time to go over these things, like hours and hours. We'll be here all day, all afternoon. So I want to make sure that you have the full scope. I just don't want to give you one thing. All right, so a couple afterthoughts before we wrap this up. I told you I would respect your time. All right, so a couple afterthoughts is your hips work in conjunction with your core. You have to have proper working hips. You have to have great glutes. Your glutes are so important. Your butt muscles, I want you to look good in a pair of jeans, but I really want your butt to fire because that helps align your pelvis and your trunk, your spine stacks on top of your pelvis. All right, so we find things aesthetically pleasing in life. For the most part, there are some weird things, but we find things aesthetically pleasing in life because they're functional and they actually work. And you see somebody walk by who's got great posture and great glutes, and you're like, wow, that person looks good. Well, they actually, are probably functioning correctly. All right. Another thing to keep in mind is your head leads the way. So this is your last exercise tip I want to leave you with. And we've gone over a few things to cover today that you can work on immediately. And then this is the last one. So your head leads the way. When your head comes forward, so let's go back to that posture. When your weight drifts forward into your toes, all right, so your weight drifts forward into your toes and your head follows and your body sags, your abs give up. It don't work, your pitch belly happens. So for every inch your head comes forward, it puts pressure on your lumbar spine and it deactivates your core. So your head, your neck muscles are the drivers for your core. If you want a great core, you need great head posture. So what I want you to think about is I want to think about you are trying to eavesdrop on a conversation behind you. Okay, so everybody pretend right now. There's like, oh, there's something good going on behind me. Oh, I want to hear it. And you bring your head back and your posture fixes itself. So we have entirely too many forward things, like I said, with our great convenient society now. We're forward on our phones, we're forward on the computer, we're Forward for everything. Eating, the way we eat, the way we sit to eat, everything is forward. So if everything is forward, we never take the opportunity to bring our heads back in line with your body. So if you take nothing away from today, I hope you took more than this, but if you take nothing else away, I want you to work on getting your head back in line with your body. So just pretend you're trying to hear somebody behind you. All right, so just keep that in mind. We're like, oh, something behind me. And it's going to straighten your posture and it's going to turn on your core. And I think just even that little tip, you're going to be amazed at what it does to your stomach. But there is a chin tuck head lift exercise that I love that's in the diastasis fix. So do that one 3 times a week also, and that will really help strengthen the muscles in the front of your neck, which will help turn on your core. All right, so how do I access these exercises? All right, you're ready to make it happen and ready to learn how to get your ribs down. So first things first, get those ribs down, get them in, get your ribs moving. Fix your posture, and then make your breathing 360 and natural so that you can have great abs, that great postpartum belly that looks fabulous and functions, that helps prevent back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, hip pain. All right, all these aches and pains are a product of your body not functioning correctly and not being in correct alignment. So let's fix that alignment. All right, so thank you so much for coming. I have a full core, hips, and pelvic floor program, which I'm not asking you to buy. All right, I'm gonna give it to you. Yay. All right, so it's just a $1 setup fee because the setup won't let me do it for free because of the program it's in. So it's just a $1 setup fee, and you get the whole first month for where you can just watch the videos, do the diastasis fix, see what results you get, and that way you can go over all these great exercises that I alluded to, and you can try them out and see if they work for your body. Then if you love it, I've got a bunch of other stuff in there too, some pelvic floor stuff, some back pain stuff, tip of the week, expert interviews, anyway, a lot of stuff. Then if you love it, it's $15 a month after that, but seriously, 0 obligations, 0 commitment. You can cancel at any time. I just want to get you ladies the information that you need, okay? So the best way for me to do that was to create a very extensive program and then offer it to you for free, so you can at least get a month to check it out and try the exercises, all right? So I'm going to send you an email when we're done here, and it will have a replay in it. So I know I talked fast. So if you want to review some of the posture things, if you want to snap that selfie, if you want to go over a few things and watch it again, feel free to check out that replay. The link will be in the replay, but you can just go to my website and click on diastasis fix or the pelvic floor issue, but it's the core, hips, and pelvic floor program. And then be sure at checkout, you type in fix me, okay, in all caps, fix me. That is your code. All right, fix me gives you the program for free. Okay, so fix me. If you have any trouble, just email me. I answer my email myself. You're not going to be shipped to China. Okay, so just email me. I'll be happy to help you. All right, and then with this program, I have an amazing Facebook group where the women post pictures of themselves and videos and ask questions, and I am on there multiple times a day, so offering great advice and building relationships. I love it. It's been a wonderful part of my life to be able to help those women. Okay, and that link is inside the program, so you can find that there. All right, well, I really enjoyed talking and sharing with you today.